I'm at my post office in my local town. My
Yeah.
local town's a pretty nice place, right? And every time I go up here, it's always like there's trash and stuff in the parking lot and inside and everything else. And it's not like everyone's a slob. You can tell it's been here a while.
Yeah.
And this is typical U.S. government stuff.
Yeah.
I know what they're saying. Well, we don't waste our time with menial tasks. But what they do is they waste their time at other things.
Yeah.
They're not really working that hard. We all know that.
Yeah.
And, you look at this trash. I mean, inside and out, the trash inside where the mailboxes are, it's like literally overflowing. There's like cans and gloves and stuff out in the parking lot sitting around. It's been there a while.
Yeah.
And that's the government inefficiency we all know and love.
Yeah. I don't go to the post office much, and so I can't remember what I had to mail, but I had to mail something, and I happened to be just over the border in New Hampshire. So I'm like, well, there's got to be a post office around here. So I drove around, and I finally found a post office. Parking lot's empty, so I go in, and I'm the only one there. I'm standing there, and I'm waiting, and nobody's coming to the counter,
Yeah.
But I hear the woman that's working at the counter just off to the side, so she couldn't see me, but I could hear her clear as a bell.
Yeah.
And she was talking about her football picks for the weekend. It was a woman.
Yeah, that's when you have to I can just picture what she looks like just
FYI. Yeah.
But that's when you have to pretend to make noise, but not really pretend to make noise. Just so that
but you can't now in the days of COVID, because if you do the cough, they're going to think you have COVID.
Yeah, they'll shoot you. Hey, I got to tell you this one story. It's in the Obama era, right? It's where the open borders and everything else is. My wife goes to this Chinese supermarket all the time. She usually buys fish there, right?
Yeah.
And then one day we went in and the fish was like double what it usually was. So my wife, she's been going there for like 10, 15 years. So she asked the fish guy, hey, what's the deal? And she goes, the Chinese women in the apartment in back of us, they're all buying the fish because they're all pregnant, and this is supposed to make the baby smart or whatever. So they're buying the fish. She goes, well, what Chinese women? She goes, they all live in the apartment building in the back. We call it the maternity ward, right? And there's like 100 Chinese women. They're all single. They're not single, but they don't have their husbands. And they came over here to have their babies, right?
Unbelievable.
That's kind of weird, right? Because it's like, that sounds like a Mexican thing, the anchor babies, right?
Yeah.
So, we found out the story behind it. And what's happening is, it's exactly right. What they're doing is they're coming over here. They don't look pregnant, but they are pregnant. Then they come over here. Then they claim Section 8 status. They don't have money, blah, blah, blah. So they don't have to pay for the birth, right? And they get the best health care in the world. But what they do is nefarious. What they do is they have the baby, make sure everything's okay. They go back to China, and then they're not going to come back for 18 years. So what's going to happen in 18 years is the kid's going to come back here, claim U.S. citizenship.
Yeah.
And then he's going to partition his parents to come back here, and they're going to be able to retire here. So that's their plan.
Yeah.
So what happens now is in this maternity ward, there's no more, obviously pregnant Chinese women, because during the Trump administration, he stopped that practice. Said, hey, you're not doing that anymore.
Right.
And literally, we haven't seen them anymore, because about 5-6 years ago, they were everywhere. You saw these cranky, because they think they're this status-filled Chinese women more than the slum workers we have here.
Yeah.
Because they're dicks. Every single one of them's an asshole.
They
can tell.
They are.
You can tell right away.
Yeah.
And they're not here anymore. So what's going to happen is January 1st next year, we're going to start seeing all these pregnant Chinese women again coming here and sucking off their thing.
Yep. Biden's going to undo that.
And it's not like a friend of a friend of a friend. We see this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Trump did. He stopped it, because literally it stopped. We don't see it anymore. Mm-hmm. And the price of the fish is back down to the normal price again, by the way.
Yep.
But it's this open borders anchor baby stuff that just drives us crazy. It's the little stuff you see, and it just all adds up. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right.
See, when I drive around here, I still like the final tally of votes here in Massachusetts was Biden beat Trump by 2-1. It was like 2 million votes to 1 million votes, plus change, whatever. And all of the Biden signs that I would see around, you'd see a few like in the places you'd expect, my neighborhood, and you'd see a few there. But mostly where you're seeing them is in the wealthy neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They're these wealthy white guilt people, These are the guys that, like, this is why my governor is such a piece of shit, is because his wife is just this self-righteous, virtue signaling harpy. And she's telling him, making his life crazy. And that's why he makes these stupid decisions. But the point is that there's one woman that I pick up quite often, and she was like passionate about Biden and everything, but they don't live anywhere near these types of things that you're talking about. Yeah. They don't live in. They all
they're insulated from it. Yeah.
All white, by the way, communities, and they're just so. Again, we keep talking about the bubble. They're in a bubble. Pauline Kael of the New York Times, she was a film and theater critic for the New York Times years ago, said this about Nixon. She goes, I don't know how Nixon won. Nobody I knew voted for him. And it's true, because they don't know anybody outside of their bubble. Silicon Valley, worst bubble of all of Northern California, complete and utter bubble. Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, that area, complete bubble. They don't know what the rest of the world is like. And my driving around, I honestly thought Trump was going to win Massachusetts from my driving around, because the overwhelming majority of people that got in my car were Trump people.
Yeah.
I mean, they were. I just had one yesterday. Day before yesterday, I was taking him to the airport. He was a guy from India. And again, you do this dance when you talk about Trump. Like, you introduce how do you start talking about COVID or something. And if you think it's ridiculous, it's like, okay, this guy thinks COVID is ridiculous. Maybe he thinks this. And you do it. And it's like this weird little, like, you test each other with different subjects. And then finally it comes to Trump. And I had this guy, and we made it all the way to the airport. It was about a 25-minute ride. Made it all the way to the airport. And we were talking about the Chinese. And, he was from India. And finally he goes, the only one that's calling any attention to what the Chinese are doing is Donald Trump. He goes, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't want to be controversial, but he was the only, and he's right. And it's like, this is what's going on. But these people live in their little isolated worlds, and they think of the working class and below as the little people.
The plebes, they don't count. Yeah.
Yeah, they've formed this aristocracy, which again, the founders never wanted. Yeah. The founders came from a world of aristocracy and bloodline, wealth and all this stuff over in Europe. They, the French and the
they
British,
saw how bad it was. That's why they set it up so there is no aristocracy.
It was terrible. Yeah. And then when the like that actually happened with the founders, like when the Pilgrims first came here, it was rough for them. I mean, it was really rough, And then once it started getting popular, like, more affluent landowners from England would emigrate over here, and they thought that they could treat people like peasants or serfs. And the settlers were like, fuck you. No, I'm not going to clean your horse's shoes. You can pay me to do it, and I'll do it, but I'm not going to, I'm not your butler.
You reminded me of my old story I always go back to. You remember John Kennedy, right? He crashed his plane. I don't remember his wife's name. I think it was Caroline, and the other girl in it that died, I don't remember. But my favorite story is like, I can imagine John Kennedy coming home that night. He's going, Carol, I'm sorry I'm late. It was a hard day. It was a couple hours late, but I don't think I should be flying now because it's getting kind of dark." And Caroline's going, John, I have Ginny here. We said we're going to Nantucket for the weekend, and we're going to Nantucket.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Caroline, I don't know if I can go. It's getting dark. I just get my license.
It's foggy.
You
The
always
weather's
do this, John. Whenever
Yeah.
I want to do something, you don't want to. I got Ginny here. You're making me look stupid.
Yeah,
Well, Caroline,
yeah.
I don't. I just want to keep you safe. I don't want you to die. Every fucking time, John. Your dad wouldn't do it. Your dad saved people from World War II. Caroline, I just want to keep you guys safe. I don't know why I married you. Yeah. Okay. Jesus Christ, Caroline. We'll go. God damn it. Jesus Christ. And then they're about to take off, And it's like, we better get there before they start drinks, because you know what happens when your grandmother drinks. Okay. We'll go.
Yes,
And then
that
it's
is
like,
exactly it.
Okay,
And
they
then
take off. They take off, right? And then they're like, John's like, "Oh well, shit. I think we better go back." "We're not going back, John. We're here. Don't make me look stupid in front of Ginny, all right?" It's like, "Just go." It's like, "Oh, I think I'm lost." "You're always lost. See, your dad wouldn't do this." Jesus Christ, Caroline, I'm gonna put us in the fucking drink. I swear to God. Shut up, John. You're always doing this. Okay, screw it. And then he just kills them all into the drink. I know that's what happened.
Yeah.
I love doing that story because
I
true.
know it's true. It's true. That's pretty much what life is like.
Yeah, I know.
Then once they get their way, they shut up.
Yeah,
and
I know.
then now the guy's pissed. They're happy. He's now pissed.
Yeah.
And if he says anything wrong, boom, they call the fucking cops, and the guy goes to fucking jail.
I know, that's funny. I know that's inappropriate, but I love doing that story.
It's exactly what happened.
I gotta get my mask on. I gotta go upstairs and do my computers.
Your
I'll talk to you later.
To prevent the spread of COVID.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Man.
Bye.
Later.